He was no longer attached to anything. He ended up free falling about 120 feet. He fell right next to my feet. I was 22. I was barely starting life. I was barely starting to find my bearings as an adult, and I didn't think life was going to go on at all. One of the biggest journeys I went through in grief was falling into deep, deep, deep alcoholism.
Welcome to the 1090 podcast, where life's 10% what happens to you and 90%. How are you? What is it? You're going to respond to it? Okay, great. Yeah, I'm here with Caitlin. Caitlin, your last name is Eggertz? Eggertz.
Rough one.
When I was in the 7th or 8th grade, my art teacher was Miss Egbert. Anyway, I just had a flashback of her. I'm sure she's dead now because she was 90 when she was teaching. So rest in peace, Mrs. Egbert. This is a rough start. Should we start over? God, holy cow, this is terrible. Okay.
I loved it.
That's good. Thank you, Caitlin. Caitlin from Bluffdale, right?
Yes.
So not too far of a drive today.
No.
But so glad you're here. I'm just going to start with your obituary.
Okay.
Of your boyfriend.
Perfect.
Matthew Perry Hearn. Okay. In loving memory, on July 13th, 2017, Matthew Perry Hearn tragically passed away following a climbing accident in Big Cottonwood Canyon. Matt was the beloved son of Annette Hearn and Frederick Hearn, devoted brother of Sarah and her fiancé Fletcher, loving partner of Caitlyn, dear grandson of Francis and the late Garland Lee Perry and Frederick William Hearn and Patricia Hearn. Blanchard, sorry, there's lots of names right here. Nephew of Sandra, Luis, Timothy, Joyce, and Catherine. And is also survived by many other family members and friends. A celebration of Matt's life will be held on Friday, August 4th from 4 to 7 p.m. at Westminster College. The memorial service includes an open house with family and friends and colleagues and a program from 5:30 to 6:30 p.m. In lieu of flowers, the Hearn family asks that you consider a donation in memory of Matt. Contributions to the Westminster College Matt Hearn Memorial Lacrosse Scholarship. So, he was a lacrosse player.
Oh, yeah.
And a damn good one if he's playing college. That's...
Yeah, so he's from Maryland. His whole family lives in Maryland, and he was playing for Salisbury College, which is okay.
Yeah.
And he wasn't having a good time, so he transferred out to Salt Lake City and went to Westminster when he was, I think, a sophomore, and he played for the rest of his college career. He did get redshirted. I don't know if that's what it's called.
Yeah.
He was prone to concussion, so his last year was left. He became the coach instead of the player.
Really?
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
I mean, kind of.
I think he was a little bummed, that he couldn't play all 4 years, but lacrosse is what prompted him to come to Salt Lake, and then lacrosse is what brought us together, which is so silly. He was a senior in college and I was a freshman, and I needed an on-campus job as part of my financial aid package to go to Westminster. And I had this friend who was going on a study abroad, and she had been the men's lacrosse assistant as a campus job. And so she was like, you should take my job for this semester while I go to Prague. And I literally had to sit on the bleachers and film the men's lacrosse team at Westminster's practices every day so that they could watch the tape back.
Gotta have film. You need it.
So I was the weird girl on the bleachers with the camera, just filming them awkwardly every day. And Matt was the coach at the time because he could no longer play. And I thought he was really cute. And then one day he like sent me this text and he was like, hey, if you ever like need help with lacrosse stuff,
Sure.
let me know.
Right.
I'm always available. That was my cue.
Yeah, I got some lacrosse stuff.
Yeah. I'm all, what is lacrosse?
That's so good. So that's how you guys started hanging out, dating at Westminster College. Man, yeah, that place is expensive to go to. So good for you guys.
It is expensive, but quick plug for Westminster, they scholarship like every single student who goes there. So
Yeah.
it makes it really affordable. And I grew up in private school my whole life. So the thought of going to like a public university with like 300 kids in a class every day scared the shit out of me.
Yeah.
So it was better fit.
The Griffins.
The Griffins. Go Griffs.
I almost went there for basketball. Great school.
Great school. I think they have a shit basketball team, I'll be honest.
Well, it's because I didn't go there. No. Yeah, I think they're still NAIA, but yeah, I went to Westminster basketball camp every summer. Tommy Connor used to be over there. Yeah, anyway, good times. What's, he died 9 years ago?
9 years ago.
You have a relationship with his family at all? Are they in Maryland and you're here, or how's that working out?
Yeah, it's actually been really one of the most incredible blessings of my life. So, I mean, I do still keep in touch with his sister and his mom and dad all the time. They actually just came to my wedding.
No way.
To my new husband. Annette surprised me at my baby shower when I had my daughter in 2023. She flew out to Salt Lake and didn't tell me, and I walked in my mom's door, and there she was sitting in my mom's living room. So it's really been one of the most unique experiences, I think, for me, is to be able to be so young when Matt died.
How old were you?
I was 22.
Cool.
I had just graduated from Westminster that May, and then he passed in July. And so to be so young and kind of have to grapple with the fact that, like, surely you're going to have to put your life back together at that age, you know? I wasn't like an old widow. It wasn't like, oh, we've lived our whole life together and I can, like, rest in that fact and feel good about like what we've created and go about life alone for the rest of it. You know, it was like I was 22, I was barely starting life. I was barely starting to like find my bearings as an adult, and to be so accepted by his family this many years later and to feel like they're truly a part of everything that I do is something that I really don't have words for.
Yeah.
Just like immense gratitude, you know?
There's so many people we talk to that they don't, like, the family dynamic is so truly awful. Like, they're not getting along, and it's hard to navigate.
Yeah.
And so just hearing you say that, that's so refreshing and cool to hear.
Yeah.
Because Courtney's parents have very much been the same way for me and Sammy and Blue, and it's so helpful when you have that support.
I mean, it makes it so much easier. And then to have them like cheerlead you, you know?
Yeah.
Like I remember when Matt died, I was at the scene and the cops had like asked, do you want to call his parents and like let them know what happened? And I was like, no, I don't think I could do that. And so the cops called, for us. And I remember Bill, Matt's dad, like picking up the phone a couple hours later and giving me a call. And I was kind of offended at the time, but like the first thing that came out of his mouth was like, you're going to have a life, Caitlin. You're going to find somebody else. You're going to keep going and life will be okay. And looking back on that, like, it's not what I wanted to hear. on July 13th, 2017. I didn't think life was going to go on at all. But to know that he was like in my corner that day, 2 hours after he lost his son, and that sentiment has never left, has been such a privilege.
You think he was just worried for you and loved you and just understood it and just wanted you to know that right off? I just think that kind of shows you who Matt is too. Like, that's his dad. Like, so obviously the way Matt loved you and cared for you is obvious to his dad for him to say that, I think.
Yes. I think, Matt and his parents had such a good relationship. They were like best friends. I remember Matt like calling his parents every single day, even though he lived in Salt Lake and they lived in Maryland and he was like an adult, you know? But the relationship that him and his parents had was so genuine and so true. And I think that they saw what Matt and I had was genuine and true and was going to be something, should that day not have happened. And but in the same breath, I think Bill needed me to know in that moment, like, you have to go on. You can't stop.
Yeah. I think it's just so good hearing that, because that's it. You said it. It just doesn't feel like you can. It just doesn't feel possible at that time. So just hearing that from him is, again, just, wow. Just the love and connection in that moment, I think, is big.
Yeah.
Do you want to take me back that day you guys wake up, you go rock climbing, or can you take me back to that day if you're comfortable?
Yeah. So, Matt and I had just signed a lease to a new apartment, like a couple days prior. And I had just started my new job, my first job out of college. And
What were you doing?
I was a behavior technician for kids with autism up at the University of Utah. So I was, we were both going to go to work that day. And then the original plan, which makes me a bit sick, was to get off work and then immediately move the rest of our stuff to our new apartment. We had moved like a majority of things. We had all the big furniture and stuff in there. But we were going to get the rest of the stuff over, and that was the first night we were going to spend in our new place. So we like get off work, and he's like, hey, I think it's such a nice day outside. We should go climbing for a little bit, and then we can wrap everything up and move our sheets and our clothes or whatnot back to the apartment and start life. And I remember in the weeks leading up to it, I had this really bad stomach ache, like really bad, like to the point I went to the doctor and was like, I think I have like appendicitis or something, like just this ache. And I felt it that day. But I decided that, he wants to go rock climbing, so let's head up there. So me, Matt, and one of our friends went up Big Cottonwood Canyon to an area called The Slips. Ironic. And when you're climbing outside, there's a lot of gear involved. Obviously, you have to set the route with carabiners and the rope, and then you can climb it, and then at the end of it, you have to get all your gear off the wall so that you can go home. So we had successfully set the climb. We had all taken a turn climbing it, and Matt was going to be the one to clean the route, get all our gear off the wall before we went home. The ins and outs of what happened are still very ambiguous, I guess you could say. My friend was belaying him. I was sitting on the ground, not paying any attention. And Matt made it to the top. And in rock climbing, you're really supposed to use a lot of verbal commands to let people know what's going on, right? Part of cleaning the route is for him to take himself off the rope and to have attached himself to like the anchor at the top of the wall. Something happened in between that time. What we think happened is that he gave a thumbs up at the top, like saying like, good climb or something. But he hadn't attached himself to the anchors at the top of the wall. My friend took him off belay, and because he was no longer attached to anything, he ended up free falling about 120 feet to his death, ultimately. He fell right next to my feet. I remember like looking up maybe 1 or 2 seconds before he hit the ground and being like, he's falling. But I didn't realize that he wasn't attached to anything at that point. I remember him hitting the ground and just total shock taking over my body. Like I'd been CPR trained for my job. I knew like what I was supposed to do in that moment. But everything in my brain like left entirely. And I just remember screaming, honestly, at the top of my lungs, fuck. And luckily, there was a group of climbers next to us who we didn't know. They were strangers. And they came over and took over for us. They started CPR. Someone called 911. The things were in motion, and I remember grabbing Matt's phone because I couldn't find mine, and I remember calling my mom. You know, your mom is always the first one you call, and I remember she answered the phone, and I couldn't get words out. All I said was, Matt's dead. Please start driving up Big Cottonwood Canyon. The fire truck will stop you when you've made it. And then I just hung up the phone. So the paramedics come, the fire trucks come, everyone's there, of course. And I've like, in order to get to this rock climbing route, you have to go down the side of the highway and then across a little river. I'm barefoot at this point. I don't know where my shoes are. I can't find anything. So I'm like just climbing up these jagged rocks, crossing rivers. I make it to the top and I find the ambulance. And I am like screaming at the paramedics. I am like, you have to save him. You have to save him. And I feel like they're taking forever. I mean, they are like setting up pulley systems to like stretcher his body across the river. Like they're like trying to set all of their gear up in order to do their job. And I just remember being like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, get over there now. They put me into the ambulance so that I would like be removed from the situation so they could do what they needed to do. And I remember just sitting there and it felt like hours and hours and hours. And then all of a sudden I hear something on one of the paramedics' walkie-talkies. And I couldn't quite make out what it said, but he immediately turned it off. And that was like my cue, right? And I looked at him in the face and I said, he's dead, right? This guy didn't want to talk to me until my mom got there, because at this point I was by myself. My friend had stayed down with Matt to make sure that everything was okay. So it was just me and this paramedic. And he like wouldn't give me that like, yeah, he's dead, you know, until my mom got there. I remember my mom pulling up and getting out of the ambulance and just like literally collapsing on the ground. Like I couldn't stand up. I couldn't walk. I couldn't do anything. I mean, life was over at that point for all of us. Obviously, when things like this happens, it takes a long time for them to clear the scene, and it takes a long time for you to get home. You have to be interviewed. A lot goes into it. And I remember driving home in my mom's car, and she was pretty adamant that I come stay with her that night. And I made her drive me back to Matt's old house where his roommates were still living. That was the last place that he was living at before we were going to move in together. And that's the only place I wanted to be in that moment, was with his friends and mine, and in his bedroom where his bed still was and his clothes still were. And I just remember getting there, and I mean, there's just no words for you to say. There's nothing for you to really feel in that moment, even. You're just in like such shock from the trauma that you've just like been a part of. And then just grappling with the fact, like, I'll never speak words to this person again. I'll never touch them. I'll never hear their voice. I'll never get a hug. I'll never move into that stupid apartment. Like, the reality of life just starts flooding you, you know? And it doesn't stop. It was obviously the worst day of my life. And obviously you wouldn't wish trauma or grief on anybody, but truly I just can't. It's hard for me to even talk about now, 9 years later. Just my body physically feels sick still.
How often do you see him falling and landing right by your feet? Like, does that every day?
I feel like for the first few years it was it was vivid. I couldn't even like go through a day without having some pretty serious PTSD. I'm able to talk about it now, and obviously I still get pretty vivid memories or images in my mind, but I wouldn't say it gets easier. It just like your brain begins to process it more. I feel like when trauma first happens to you, it's like your brain is trying to protect you and like make it into a lie almost, you know? Like there's no way that can be fucking real. And your brain is really trying to like rationalize that for you so that you don't have to think about it. And I do remember one of the first things I was talking about in therapy was I kept like mixing up every event and like every situation, like down to the color shirt he was wearing. Like even though I knew, like we had seen his body and like I knew it was a red shirt, but I kept like telling my therapist he was wearing a blue shirt. Like my brain was just like so confused trying to put everything together. Like I couldn't figure out what was real and what was fake for like years. Obviously I've been in like copious amounts of therapy for this for years of my life. So it has improved and I do feel a lot better about it. But I mean, trauma, man, it fucks you up.
You mentioned the stomach ache before. Why'd you mention that? What do you think the significance of that is?
Okay, I don't even know. Like, before Matt died, I wasn't really a God person or even like a something bigger than ourselves person. I didn't think things happened for rhymes or reasons, or like there wasn't such a thing as fate or destiny. But I do look back on that stomach ache frequently and be like, was that something telling me what was coming? Like a gut feeling, literally, you know? I don't know, but I do remember that stomach ache went away as soon as it happened. And I've never felt it again.
Has that led to any shame and guilt that you might have about it, and then also the friend that was there. I just have questions for, like, how are they doing, and the shame and guilt with them. Yeah.
Yeah. I've definitely grappled with a lot of shame and guilt. I think one of the first questions I ever asked myself was, if I was belaying my boyfriend instead of my friend, would the same situation have happened? You know, like if I hadn't been building like weird rock towers on the ground and being mindless.
You did say when you were telling the story, like, I was just sitting there not paying attention. Like, that's how you described yourself. Like, there's some anger directed at yourself. It felt like some, like, you made that clear. Like, I was just sitting at the bottom, not paying attention.
Yeah, because I think that it's like survivor's guilt, right? Like, what was I doing that maybe made this situation possible? And if I had done something differently, would the situation have ended different? And I think that that's something that a lot of us grapple with when we lose people, right? Like, I've heard you talk in your podcast and on events, like, if you had been in the car with Courtney, would the series of events gone the same?
Yeah, it's a what if question I ask every day. Yeah, I don't.
And you can play it all day long,
all day
right?
long.
I mean, we can twist and bend scenarios to whatever I think what we try to do is change the outcome, you know? Because the outcome that we were dealt is a pretty shit one. And I think the friend I was with has gone through a lot in the same. And one of the most unfortunate parts of this situation to me actually is that person and I don't keep in touch anymore. That relationship pretty much died that day. But I don't think it's either of our faults. I think trauma and going through that and being a part of it really messes you up. And how you handle it, I mean, there's no good way to, in my opinion.
If I had the friend on the podcast, do you think they'd say something similar about you, or?
I'd like to think they'd be like, I still really care about her.
You should read this book. It's called The Things We Never Say. Because I bet there's things you both really want to say to each other, and I don't know if you ever will, because it's just so terrifying and scary. But if your friend is listening, like, my heart goes out to you. Like, I'm sorry for what you've been through. Colin Campbell, he lost 2 kids from a drunk driver hitting him, and he talks about just the what if game that we were talking about. Yeah. And in his book, Finding the Words, he talks about how that's a form of denial. Like, whenever you're thinking of this what if game, really you're removing yourself from the reality you're living in, and you're in this other fantasy that doesn't exist, trying to make decisions, and, like, you're not. And just reading that in his book, I just realized, like, how much of denial I'm still in, because my brain is constantly doing the what if all the time.
One of the biggest journeys I went through in grief was falling into deep, deep, deep alcoholism for about 6 years after he died. I think I was already, like, obviously I was an alcoholic before this all happened, but I was also only 22. I was partying, but so was everyone else. It was, like, more easy to justify, I guess you could say, you know? Like, we're all young and dumb at one point.
Yeah.
And then I fell really deep into alcoholism because of grief, because I absolutely, like, refused to talk about Matt for a really long time. I even remember, like, going to therapy and just, like, sitting silently in the therapy chair for, like, an hour. Like, I was, like, paying $200 to go to therapy, and I would just, like, sit there like this. the whole time. She would like try to ask me questions and I'd be like, this is so dumb. It's not going to help.
That's exactly what I was doing.
Like,
are my kids going to be alive after this?
Yeah.
No?
Like,
then what the fuck are we doing?
Yeah, like talking about it isn't going to like make it change. So why are we talking about it? I couldn't really figure that part out. But alcohol was really good because you can numb. You don't have to feel anything if you don't want to. And you can still like be fake social and be,
especially your age, you can be drinking social. It's just kind of, yeah.
You're still going to parties, you're still drinking with your friends, and you can be like, it's all fun and great, guys. Like, I'm just the girl with the dead boyfriend, no big deal. You know? And then I ended up drinking and driving and getting DUIs and getting fired from jobs. And I mean, life was going pretty bad, in all honesty, because I wasn't dealing with anything, you know? I wasn't getting help and I wasn't talking about it to people. I mean, I was like cracking jokes about it, but I wasn't like talking about it, you know? And I wasn't trying to get better from it. I was pretty adamant that I was going to live in like some shit version of life, I guess, for the rest of my life. And about 6 years into Matt's death is when I decided to get sober. And getting sober was the best decision of my life because it's been where I've been able to like heal for the first time, you know?
What was there like a moment in time or like what happened where you're like, okay, I can't drink anymore?
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, I'd gotten a DUI in December of 2019. I was fired from my job because I was in jail and I no-called, no-showed to work. But what are you supposed to do? Like call your job from the drunk tank? Like, hey, I'm super sick right now. Can't make it in.
Accept a call from prison. Or, yeah, hi, I can't make it today. Yeah, it says you're in prison.
Yes, like you have an inmate calling you, hey, it's me, I can't be there today. So like, was like, ooh, so we're not going to call work, but we'll figure that out. We did not figure it out. We got fired. I'd lost my car, I'd lost my license for drinking and driving.
This is like you're scrolling through TikTok and you find the inspirational from the bottom. This is it. Like you legit lost everything.
Oh yeah. But like kind of on purpose after my
self-sabotage is definitely rampant in the story. Yes.
My mom was like, all right, so I lost my job. I had no car. I'm like a pretty pathetic.
You are one pathetic loser.
Yeah, I fucking suck at this point, okay? Like, I don't have rent money. I'm, like, gonna have to move back in with my parents.
Our pets' heads are falling off.
Yeah. And so I happen to have this friend who works at a restaurant. And I'm like, can you please get me a job? Like, I am desperate. I get a job there and my mom's like driving me to and from work. I mean, we are just at low points in life, okay? We are everything the opposite of what we thought life would be 6 years ago. Like 6 years ago, I was going to have a good job. I was going to be living with the love of my life. We were going to be getting married. I mean, the future was bright, you know? And then the future was non-existent. And so I'm working at this restaurant. My mom is driving me to and from work, which, let me tell you, great excuse to keep fucking drinking, okay? Like, your mom is your chauffeur, okay? You don't have a license, so you can't get in trouble at this point. Like, They should maybe rethink the DUI thing. Just saying. I'm like pathetic. And cue my future husband. He is the bartender at the Porcupine where I'm working. And he's pouring me pitchers of beer daily after work. And he's like, yo, dude, like, do you need a drink that much? And I'm like, yeah, I do. Okay. But he starts driving me to and from work because he's like, I live on the way and let's not make your poor mom do this every single day. And lucky for me, like my future boyfriend had gotten sober before I had. And so he kind of like knew the signs, I guess you could say, of an alcoholic or a mentally ill person. And so he is truly the reason that I've like decided to turn my life around. I don't think he really realizes it as much as I do. But that moment was like the pivotal moment in my life, not only for like my own healing and sobriety, but like for me being able to deal with trauma for the first time and truly be able to walk through it and actually deal with it and talk about it in a real way, and go to real therapy about it, and just try to find some peace in it, you know, because we're not given another option in this life. Like, they're not coming back no matter what we do. But I do believe that Matt's life was cut really short. He was 27. And if he can't live life, then I better do it for him. Because how unfair would it be for him to have died in a horrible accident and for me to waste the life that God gave me?
Yeah. It took me a while to get that perspective. But it's so true. Like, I think Courtney would want the same thing for me. Like, if we got to stay here and if we can't kill ourselves and we got to be here, we might as well be happy. Like, we might as well try to make the most of it type of thing.
Yes.
How did you communicate with your new boyfriend, current husband, about Matt? Like, what was that? When did you bring that up? Because when this is like a real thing when people have lost a loved one and they're trying to date again. Like, this is difficult. Like, when do I bring it up? How do I bring it up? How do I communicate that I'm always going to love them? And like, it's a difficult thing.
I would agree. And I wish I could come on here and give like the perfect set of advice for somebody in the situation. But I think it's hard and it's awkward, right? I am not quite sure when I brought it up to him. I do remember being very scared to add him on social media because my Instagram was like a tribute. Right. You know, so I remember being like, all right, well.
Wait, she has a boyfriend?
Yeah.
Oh, no, he's dead? Yeah.
Yeah, so I do remember being like, okay, well, as soon as you hit the, like, accept follow button.
The jig is up.
The word is out. I do think I told him pretty early on because I was like, well.
This is why I'm an alcoholic.
Yeah, like, the cat's got to get out of the bag at some point, you know, and, like, maybe the sooner we do it, the sooner he leaves me. I don't know. Like, let's just get it out of the way and see what happens.
Yeah.
So to speak. Because I try to put myself in the shoes of, like, the other side, right? Like, being the dater of the person.
I do this all the time with Sammy.
And I imagine I would feel, like, wildly uncomfortable.
Yes, thank you. I'd be like, I could not be with me.
I feel
You're just
the
posting
same.
Pictures of you kissing this other guy all the time, and fuck this shit.
Like the jealousy. Okay.
Yeah, like I can't do it, Sam. I don't know how you do it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think I don't even know what I think. I think that I had a really hard time talking about it for a while. It's just an uncomfortable situation, right? And
What made it most uncomfortable for you? The judgment, or just not knowing really how, or what made it specifically difficult for you to talk about, you think?
I think maybe I think that I had tried to put on a really brave face for a pretty long time, that I was like A-okay. And so that's kind of like the persona that I had like put out into the world for years. I mean, like, let alone a boyfriend coming into my life. Like, I didn't talk about it with anybody. I didn't talk about it with my mom and dad. I didn't talk about it with my friends. I didn't talk about it in therapy. Like, I talked to nobody about it. I would just like make sick jokes occasionally. But then I would laugh and people would be like, is she mentally unstable? Is she okay? We don't know. We're not going to ask. So I think that I had like kind of set up this, like personality, I guess, where like she's fine, And so trying to then like change that narrative, I guess, for the first time, or like talk to someone and try to be vulnerable was really quite difficult for me because I'd spent so many years not doing it. How do you like restart it, And how do you be like, hey, I really love you. I do. And I really loved this person too. And I'm grieving and I'm traumatized, and yet I want a life with you in the same breath. And it's complicated.
Just hearing you say that, though, because that's like my thoughts. And so just hearing someone else say is like, thank you. Like, that is exactly what it feels like. This happened 9 years ago.
Yes.
Talk to me about like the evolution, or besides the drinking. Well, so like, how is the drinking? Like, you don't drink at all, or you have a drink occasionally, or what's your relationship with alcohol now?
I am 100% sober from drugs and alcohol for over 2 years. So
there you go. Okay, so 9 years. What else with your grief has evolved or changed perspective? Well, let me ask you this, and then we can get to that question, because just hearing you talk reminded, and I always struggle with this because like I want to share my story with you to relate to you, but then I also don't want to just make it about me, because like this is your episode. But here we go.
Please do.
But like me and Courtney were about to move into this house. Like we bought this house. We were about to move in, just like you and Matt. And like we both took these new jobs, very similar to you guys. And like everything was just so good, like truly, like life was so good. And then the worst thing happened. And so my question to you is, how do you manage happiness knowing the minute you're the happiest ever, the worst thing ever is going to happen? Because that's just what my brain nervous system does. Like, oh, like here it comes.
Yep.
And so it's just like,
life's getting a little too good.
Right. So how are you able to manage that fear, get over that fear?
I don't think I've done a good job at that yet, I'll be honest. So I listened to one of your podcast episodes, and you were like talking to somebody about how you had like no anxiety anymore about dying. You were like, well,
I mean, I do a little bit, like, because I'd feel awful for Blue and Sammy, but yeah, like compared to what I was used to, like,
no big deal.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm like literally the exact opposite, right?
Oh, no.
Like this trauma in my life like took me to a new extreme of anxiety. Like I think about death on a daily basis. Like it is like I am mentally unwell.
Well, I think it's because you saw it happen, which
like,
is so rare. I think
yes.
That's.
I mean, it's like not rare in some circumstances,
But someone
right?
fall 120 feet to literally right in front of you is, yeah, sorry. I'm going to try to not interrupt you as much, but yeah, like, I'm sorry for what you're carrying around. That's awful.
Yeah, and I mean, like, we see our grandparents die, right? But, like, they're old, and so you can, like, grapple with that better. And, yeah, probably a lot of it is because of that experience I had. But, like, I think about people dying, like, every single day of my life. Like, all of my loved ones, myself. Like, I think about every scenario it could possibly occur in. I think that's been like one of the hardest things I've had to deal with actually in this trauma and grief is just like being so scared all the time for the rest of my life that like it will happen again for sure. And I'm just like waiting for the pin to drop.
Wait, yeah. So you're just struggling with it then?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't know. Like, my husband was just on an airplane. He was going to work in Washington, D.C. And, like, the whole entire time he was, like, flying in the air, I was like, the plane's going to drop out of the sky.
I can relate to this so much. And just, like, no longer caring if the plane drops out of the sky. I think it's so hard. You know, it's hard to talk about grief because sometimes the truth is hurtful. Like when Sammy hears that I don't care about dying, she doesn't want to hear that. That's hurtful. And so it's hard to communicate how you feel sometimes. But like when you lose a kid, like I just feel dead inside. You just do. Like you just feel like death is kind of the only way to make it. It balances the scales. Like if my kid is dead, I just shouldn't be alive. And not like be worried about me. Like, I'm fine. Like, I'm not anywhere near taking my own life. Like, I'm going to try to live as long as I can. But, like, it's just, you feel dead inside and you kind of welcome it. And that's kind of, if there's going to be anything good that comes from it, I think that's one of the good things that I've gotten is just this escape of what other people think of me and escape of fearing death and what you can't control. Your current husband, how is, well, hold on, let's get back to my original question.
Okay.
It's been 9 years.
Yes.
Walk me through it. Like, my grief has changed in the 5 years I've been carrying it around. I can't really imagine 9 years. What else has changed for you, you think? Better or worse?
Yeah. I mean, a lot has gotten better, and I feel very grateful for that. I do. My life has taken really positive turns, and I've been able to put something together that I feel proud of and that I feel like Matt would be proud of and that I feel like his parents are proud of. As I mentioned earlier, like I feel it in my heart that if he had to die young, then I have to live, and I have to live well. Like, I can't just walk through the motions. I have to be really living every day. And it took me a long time to get there. I mean, there was like a big part of me that was like truly dead inside, honestly, for years. You know, there was not a lot worth like living for. You know, we go through the motions. We wake up in the morning and we go to our jobs and whatever. We make ourselves dinner or we don't. I don't know. We drink, we go to sleep, we like do it on repeat. But for a long time, I didn't really feel like, oh, but what else is there? You know? I think the longer that time has gotten between the death of Matt and then where we are today, like, I'm able to feel more gratitude, I guess you could say. I don't think that bad things happen for a reason. I don't. Like, I think bad things just sometimes happen. And I hate when people say, like, oh, well, God needed that. Like, what?
He needed Matt.
Yeah.
More than you.
Yeah, I'm like, well, that's not fucking true, okay? Like, that's crazy. to me. So I don't think that bad things happen for a reason. I think sometimes life is just lifey, and stuff happens that is just for better or for worse. And but what I do believe is exactly the name of your podcast. Life is 10% what happens, and then 90% what you turn it into. And I try really hard every day to turn life into something worth it, because Matt didn't get that opportunity, but I did. And I don't think there's a guarantee on a next life. I don't think there's a guarantee on a heaven or a hell. Nobody knows what comes next, right? Like, that's a big old mystery for us to figure out, I guess, when it's our time. But I'm going to operate on the mentality that there's quite possibly nothing left, so I better make this.
Like, this is all you get?
Yes. And I'm not going to waste it. I'm not going to waste it for me, and I'm definitely not going to waste it for Matt, because to me, that's just like, if you're not living for the person that you care about and the person that you love and the person that doesn't get to be here and do life with you, then what are you even doing?
I remember, I forgot how much I was drinking. Like, that first year, truly, like, just hearing your story, like, yeah, like, that's totally what I did. I just drank and drank and drank. And I remember, I mean, you mentioned the 1090 quote. I just remember thinking, like, oh my God, like, my family died in that car crash so I could be an alcoholic and a terrible dad to Blue. That's why it happened. Like, that's what's happening. That's what's going on, Mason. And so, like, that quote, and, like, my dad sent me that quote one day, and it just, like, yeah, like, what the fuck am I doing? Like, and just realizing, like, you have decisions to make, and those decisions are going to determine why things happen. I don't think it's God. I think it's you. Like, things do happen for a reason, but you got to go make the reason, man. And it's scary, because if you mess up, it's going to be a shitty reason.
Yep.
And it was so close to that. It was so close. My family died. I'm an alcoholic. Blue becomes an alcoholic, and it just ruins everything. So, yeah, it just takes you a while, or it took me a while to realize that. Like, I don't know. I think that's what happens when you try to run from the pain, is you don't see what you're capable of. You don't see what you have control over, because you're just running from everything. Yeah.
Well, and I think it's really easy to live in misery, honestly.
It's so easy.
Like,
it gets comfortable.
Yes.
You can just sit here. People get it. My family died. He's drinking. It makes sense.
Right.
And I'm just going to drink till I die, and then we all die, and it's fine. Like, it's so easy. It's just so easy.
I mean, it's justifiable, truly. Like, I feel like misery is more justifiable and relatable than being happy is. Like, it
just comes natural.
Yes. Like, we complain more than we have gratitude. Life is harder than it is easier. I mean, it's just like a common experience. We all have grief or not grief. But grief gives you that really good, like, excuse to be like, yeah, my life fucking sucks. And if only you knew how bad my life was.
Poor me.
You would be here too.
Yes. You just don't get it.
Exactly. You're special, right?
Right.
Like, this doesn't happen to other people.
Exactly. No one gets me.
Yeah.
No, you don't understand.
You can't relate.
Walk one day in my shoes type of thing.
Exactly.
And then you start a podcast and you meet people and you're like, oh, shit. Like, I'm actually not special at all. Like, terrible. There's a flash flood yesterday. It killed a family in Utah.
I saw that.
Like, yeah.
But until you're living in it, it truly is, like, so unrelatable, right? Like, you can have empathy when you read those news articles, or maybe empathy is the wrong word. You can have sympathy when you read those news articles and be like, wow, that's really sad. I feel quite bad. But you don't know them. They're strangers. And, I mean, it's just until you've walked through something like this, you can't you shouldn't be able to imagine it. Like, I wouldn't want somebody else to be able to imagine it. I wouldn't want someone else to walk through it. And in the same breath, like, thousands of us have done it, and it's not unique, but I think what you choose to do with your grief and how you choose to heal from it can be unique. And it can be like the make or break of your life, right? So, I don't know. Grief is like, I describe it as a roller coaster. Like, you have really high highs, you have really low lows, you have some flat areas where you feel just kind of, stable.
And then other times you're throwing up, going upside down. Like, oh,
you're on a constant loop-de-loop. Maybe you're stuck upside down for a few minutes on the roller coaster, wondering if it's ever going to come back. It's just one of those experiences where it ebbs and it flows, and I think it will ebb and flow for the rest of your life. Like, I don't think there's this point where you can say, oh, and it's been 47 years and I feel healed,
It's fine, actually. Yeah. And everything does happen for a reason.
Yes. And you know what? Things don't happen for a reason. I will die on that hill. I don't believe in fate. I don't believe in destiny. I believe what you said. Like, you are, what is that quote? The captain of your fate, the master
captain
of your...
Ryan, help us out here. Captain of your soul. Captain of your ship. The ship? No. I'm captain of my fate?
Yeah.
We're on the right path here. Something about you're in control. Master of my fate, captain of my soul.
Yes.
That sounds about right.
That is what I believe. You're what you make your life. And I think, I don't know, like, one of the biggest reasons I wanted to come on this podcast, and one of the reasons that I was so inspired by your events and just what you do and how you bring a community of folks together, is to, like, be able to show people that, like, bad things will always be a part of us, and this trauma will always be a part of us. And the good, the bad, the ugly of it ingrains itself into every fiber of our being. And there can be a light at the end of the tunnel. Life can still be beautiful and worthwhile and worth living. And you can do it in honor of the people who you've lost, and you can do it for yourself, and you can show up and try to do the right thing every single day, because what else is life for, except for to be a better you every single morning, and be a better you for your kids, and be a better you for Sammy and for yourself and your friends and your family. And like, I just know in my heart, like, Matt would never want me to be miserable and like a shell of a human. I mean, that's just so, I don't think Courtney would want, I don't think anybody who leaves us is like, I expect your life to fucking suck.
Just drink. I just want you to be an alcoholic the rest of your life.
Please lose your job. Get some DCFS calls maybe. Like, no one wants that for you. And grief can really be a gift if you use it right. Like, it's not a community you want to be a part of. It's not like something that you would want. You don't wish it on anybody. But I think it can create a pretty special thing.
Bond, relationship, for sure, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I learned kind of what you're saying is, it took me a while to learn that being happy is a perfectly acceptable and okay way to stay connected with them. It doesn't just have to be sadness, Mason. Like,
yes,
that's always going to be there. You can also be happy too.
Did you ever feel that?
That's like, what Quackenbush helped me realize.
Did you ever feel that when you were first talking to Courtney's parents? Like, if you weren't, like, sad about her, then maybe they not relate to you?
No, I've always just been so close to them. I think we just got, like, we just understood we were all hurting pretty bad.
Yeah.
I've never felt judgment. Like, I started dating pretty quickly after Courtney died, which was a shock to me, by the way, too. Like, before she died, I'm like, oh, it'd take me years, and now, here I am. But even, like, and I'm sure it hurt them, and just naturally, but, like, very supportive and understood it, and Courtney's sisters and brothers, too. Like, I think it's just so many dead people, so much pain. Their world was blown up too. But I just think they knew how much I loved Court and how happy we were, and they understood that. And so I think that part made it easy. Like, I think we gave each other a lot of grace. I mean, I was basically living with Courtney's sister after, and man, like, we have some stories. Like, we can all go back those first years right after, and we all got some moments and stories we'd like back for sure. I think, like, we're just going through it, man. And everyone handles grief differently, too. And so, like, it makes it hard, but yeah. Anything else you want to say or mention? Grief. You have a couple kids now, right? Or
Yes, I have.
You have family.
I have a stepson and a daughter.
How's the blended family?
Ooh, you know what?
We need to edit this out, actually.
No, it's great. I mean, it has its challenges.
Yeah, for sure. That's why I asked. Like,
it can be hard to be a stepmom and, like, try and understand the role you're supposed to fill, I guess,
Yeah.
or, like, the boundaries you should maybe uphold. So that brings its own, like, set of complications, of course. But once my husband and I had our daughter, and then watching, like, my stepson and her become literal best friends, it just makes it all so much easier.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Life is lifey sometimes. You got to work with it,
it's hard.
It's weird. But it's great. Yeah, and both of our kids are they're best friends, and we're making it work one day at a time.
How long have you been married now?
Oh boy. I got married September 26th. But I have been with my husband for 6 years.
Okay.
So
Wait, so you just barely got married?
yeah, we've done things a little backwards. We've moved in together, gotten pregnant, had babies.
Oh my gosh, so you're a sinner.
We are sinners, but that's kind of my whole story. So, I mean, we're just rolling with it at this point. But yeah, we just got married in September.
Well, congrats.
And I relate to the whole dating early thing because, well, I think I really liked dating early on because it was like a great distraction,
It's a great distraction. I was sleeping on a couch. I couldn't even sleep in a bed without Court. Like, I would just end up crying. So I'd have to sleep on the couch and just watch a movie until I fell asleep. Like, that's how I'd try to sleep the first several months. Like, I couldn't even.
Did you have a movie you played on replay?
Trying to remember what I was even watching. I do remember I had Metallica on repeat, just listening to them daily. I don't remember anything specifically I watched. Did you have one that you just kept watching?
So I can never watch it again because I truly think I have like trauma from it. I played The Office.
Oh, wow. I'm sorry, because that's a great
For like
show.
years.
Yeah.
And like now every time I hear the intro song, like I'm truly triggered. I cannot. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh my God. I would fall asleep to it every single night.
There you go. There's some, like, Friday Night Lights, we named Riggins after a character on that show.
Love that show.
And I still haven't been able to watch that. Like, haven't even been able to try. So there's just still things, like, I can't even watch because it just hurts so bad. But yeah, I just remember a lot of Metallica on repeat and just watching shows. Speaking of movies. Well, wait, you're not a movie girl.
We can't.
So we're gonna do top 3 favorite documentaries or serial killers. Your favorite top 3 serial killer list? Wait, hold on. Are we done with the episode? Is there anything else you want to say or talk about before we even get here? I don't want to.
No, I just want to say thank you for letting me come on and chat.
Thanks for being so honest. Goddamn. Like, very honest and good for you. It's how everyone should be.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, top 3 serial.
Is that what you want to do?
But I only have one, and it's Ted Bundy. That's a wrap.
Why is Ted Bundy your fave?
He's mildly attractive.
It's just because you watched the documentary with that Zac Efron guy being.
Yes. Okay, and growing up in Utah. Well, did you grow up in St. George?
No, I grew up in West Jordan.
Okay.
So yeah, the Ted.
Like, did you guys ever,
Go to
break into the weird shacks?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
Okay, so it's just like a core memory,
There you go.
And like serial killers seem way less scary than ghosts, so.
Less scary?
Yeah.
Well, serial killers are real.
Maybe ghosts are too.
Okay, how about this? A serial killer ghost.
See,
Now, that's your
that's
worst
a horror movie
fear.
I could never hang with.
He becomes a serial killer as a ghost.
Why is he doing it? He doesn't have a reason.
They can never find the weapon. Man.
Exist.
Thank you so much for being on. And remember, life's 10% what happens to you and 90% how you respond to it.